My point is though that you need to figure out how you can equalize a little bit. And you still may need to increase the size of your dry culverts, but you don't want it all in one spot.
Well, one thing we need to, whatever water gets down here, it goes over the road all the time, winter, spring, summer, because we need to, on this side of the road, there's supposed to be a drain. And the drain isn't big enough to handle any of it, hardly. And that drain, it just tees over to the pipe on the east side of the road. I'm wondering if, we're going to be doing that road next year, or paving it. Now would be a good time to come under the road with another culvert, to relieve some of the pressure on this one over there. Keep some of this water on this side, because maybe we should drive down there and look at it. But see, it's starting up here on the west side. There's no, they let the church pave the ditch. You can drive right up to that Presbyterian church, park parallel. So there's no ditch to hold the water there. It just runs on top of that, and then it just shoots across the intersection into this guy's business.
So how do you resolve?
Well, I mean, if you can't, I don't think we can do anything about the church parking lot being in the ditch, but visiting with the property owner here, Mr. Kelly, at the very least we need to increase the size of this drain, because in the wintertime, it's ice. There's no, we've got a road going through there, and
So is there culvert under this parking lot? I mean, if we've got pipe,
it runs on top of the culvert.
it runs on top of the
They paved, they just filled the ditch in, and they paved it.
But that's what I was getting at. If you've got water coming down that side, if there's not pipe under the
No, it just runs on top of it.
I mean, to go clear back, I think there's several other problems here. I mean, first of all, when you look back at 1971 and when they did all this surveying for this paving this road going south, this stuff up here on the B-59 apparently was paved at that time, and even that curb in front of the church and the sidewalk was already there. You see all these water lines coming across here. Well, at that point, all that water was going across and heading for this 4x3 box. At that time, there was only one building there. And we actually got some pictures in that file I found of somebody in a boat, 3 or 4 people in a boat coming down the ditch here, and then they're actually boating across behind this garage. I think that's actually the second building there. So I don't know there's no date on what year those pictures were, but what's happened over the years is this owner of this business, and I don't think it's the guy that owns it now, but his predecessor had built several buildings down in here. That's where the natural watershed is flowing, is to this point here, because I don't have the shots of the road, but the road is actually higher here than it is here. You're starting uphill if you come this way. And he's built these buildings back here high enough that the water doesn't run in them, but he's basically restricted, water flow here, so it's all got to come down, sort of stay in the ditch further, because he's built up the ditch to try to keep the water in there, it looks like, and then it gets to there's a driveway here, I think another driveway further south, and they start jumping, the water starts jumping there, well then it's all concentrated trying to flow in a stream between the buildings, and it takes the rock off and washes it down further, and then he's got a lot of boats in this area, and I think it gets deep enough that it starts floating some of the boats, but he had never, at least in the last couple storms, it doesn't top the road. Now, I don't know whether, if you get a real big rain, whether it'll...
Yeah, I don't know how, to keep this water in the ditch, we got to start here. We need a bigger outlet to handle it, because that box over there, that handles it. But the ditch, we dug, put bigger pipe in and kept the water in the ditch so it couldn't overbank flow over there. This box will handle everything coming out of this field, but we got all this water, like Ron said, coming from the west and shooting over there, and then coming down here. It's gotta go through 2 driveways, and then there's a collection point where it goes under the road, and it boils out. And then you got this water coming from the west by the Presbyterian Church. There's a little tiny little drain, like you see in town. I think one thing that Kelly'd like to see is a bigger drain somehow.
Just
an
across.
attempt to corral it so it just doesn't go shoot across the highway all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a separate issue, because that's an issue more in the winter time when, because this water comes across, when it freezes up, it runs across and basically forms a skating rink, I guess, in front of this building.
Which is kind of a safety, it's an intersection or a stop sign. It'd be equivalent of, if you got a culvert out in the country plugged up and water stored over the road.
You know what the history is of these tile lines, and I don't know, it shows 33 foot in here, I don't know if there's an easement up through here, because that comes up in here, and I went up there and took some pictures where that is outlet, up there in that open ditch, and it looks like it's got a pretty free outlet, doesn't it? It's not being restricted like they wanted early, where the restrictions in the open ditch.
No, both, at least at this point, they got good, there's good drop. There's a good outlet.
Although downstream from this one then, and I didn't look at the size of it, but these come back here just a ways, and then there's a culvert through that driveway that takes you back into some old storage buildings that are back here. This one here, where this 48 ends, the last section of culvert is got undermined and it's dropped down. It probably looks like it's 5-6 inches down, and maybe the next one back looks like it's working toward falling off too. But according to this 1971 information, that 48 comes back to here, and then at that point, there apparently was some kind of a junction that with a 10-inch tile, they went to the round culvert that you're talking about. But then this also showed that there was an intake here at the curb line that was tied in. It looked like it was tied back into this 24-inch line with a, I guess I don't give a tile sign. I thought it did.
Is that 30?
This one's 10. This one's coming this way, it's only 10 on that one. But then they also show this 10-inch here that looks like it's going over, and I don't know whether those two are tied together with a 10-inch, but this is supposed to be a 24 tying into here, and then there's a 30. This is a 36-inch concrete pipe coming this way. And this 36 is tied into this 48 along with this 10-inch, and then this 24. I don't know if there's one box there where they all hook together. There's nothing apparent on the surface over on the north side showing how they're tied together. Over on this side over the years, the other thing that has happened is these two boxes aren't open, or these two culverts aren't open on the end. There's a concrete lid there, and Bob Kelly, when I talked to him this morning, said there's a manhole at the top of there. Well, it's covered with silt. You couldn't, anything shovel try to find it, but apparently there is a manhole in the top of there that you can get down and see what's going on in there. But right now, back here ways, he's filled the ditch in. I should say somebody, either him or his predecessor, filled the ditch in so that you can park vehicles along there. But there's a 36-inch culvert pipe sticking out that takes water north, and I assume it's tied in, I don't know whether it's tied in to this one. This is a 30-inch going this way and ties clear over into this box.
Where's the highway?
Highway's here.
No, I'm going south.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
These culverts, I assume those are the ones that are in place now, because like you said, that first couple hundred feet, there is no ditch there. It's just, the ditch is higher than the road. Water's forced to run right down the edge of the road. And that's something that would help improve. I mean, it'd help improve it if you get the water up here this far, but then if you had a structure up here, then it would take